Hello, welcome to the Thursday, May 19th meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission. I'm really excited to be back here in person with everybody today. Yay. And we'll do our roll call.
Commissioners Tufenkian. Here. Vidor.
Here.
Zadorian.
Here.
Vice Chair Vyar.
Here.
Chairperson Jiang.
Here.
Agenda item 1A, report of the recorder reposting the agenda. The agenda for the May 19th, 2022 regular meeting was posted on May 16th, 2022 on the bulletin board outside of City Hall. Agenda item 2A, minutes of the March 10th, 2022 special meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
Okay, are there any comments on, do we just take these one by one on the March 10th special meeting minutes?
I have no comments.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'm making a motion to approve the minutes of the March 10th, 2022 special meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
Second.
Roll call, Commissioners Tufenkian.
Yes.
Vidor.
Yes.
Zadorian.
Yes.
Vice Chair Vyar.
Yes.
Chairperson Jiang.
Yes.
Agenda item 2B, minutes of the March 17th, 2022 regular meeting of the Arts and Culture Commission.
Any comments or changes?
Gary Schaefer, Director, Library Arts and Culture. Could we get a legal opinion from Mr. Grant on, we should be able to take all these minutes in one motion as they are consent items. Would that be okay?
Yes, that would be okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Well, then I'll revise that to any comments or changes on any of the minutes.
Okay, then I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 10, March 17, March 22nd, March 31st, and April 7th of the 2022 meetings of the Arts and Culture Commission, as is.
Second.
We'll call Commissioners Tufenkian.
Yes.
Vidor.
Yes.
Zadorian.
Yes.
Vice Chair Vyar.
Yes.
Chairperson Jiang.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 3A, Library Arts and Culture events presented by Jennifer Fukutomi-Jones, Principal Arts and Culture Administrator. Pull this up. Apologies. Okay, here we are back in chambers. All right, welcome everyone back. We are doing the library report for the Library Arts and Culture events. Up first, we are celebrating Asian Pacific Islander Heritage Month. On Saturday, May 21st at 4:30 in the Central Library Auditorium, discover the beauty and grace of Japanese dance odori and the celebratory Oboen dances with Christine Inoue. The Oboen Festival is an annual Japanese celebration which commemorates and remembers deceased ancestors and communal dance in the heart of each celebration. Participants will learn about Japanese culture in addition to the steps of popular Japanese festival dances. And to celebrate AAPI Heritage Month, GLAC will be offering samples of Wild Harvest Green Parade tea. This beverage is known in southwestern China, where ancient tea trees reside in the fertile soil of Yunnan, known as the historical birthplace of tea. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. On May 21st and 22nd, join Jazz Antiqua Dance Ensemble for a performance and workshop celebrating jazz as a vital thread in the cultural fabric of African American history and heritage, and a defining element of the American experience in the works that are evocative, graceful, and bubbling with rich, jazzy textures. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. Opening on May 23rd, 2022, the Adams Gurney Park gas station Impressions by Claire Apana is a site-specific installation consisting of various gigantic origami forms. These forms will vary in size and shape, constructed of white butcher paper and massive photographic prints with metal accents. This installation expresses the importance of change, especially in light of the recent pandemic. Repetitive gestures transform the expansive material in a complex form. The goal is to inspire others to realize that small actions can build into glorious transformations. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. On Saturday, June 11th at 2 p.m. at the Brand Library Recital Hall, join us flutist Paul Fried, who has had a storied career performing in the Berlin Philharmonic, Boston Symphony, Pittsburgh Symphony, and many others. His son, Alexander, was a violin prodigy and has won many awards. The program will include Schumann, Gabriele Frank, Beethoven, Roussel, and Mozart. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. On June 11th from 12 to 4 p.m. as part of the Art Happens Anywhere program, Glendale Electric by the Museum of Neon Art is a public art festival aimed at providing live, bite-sized art and cultural experiences to viewers. The event will be the result of a collaboration with a range of Glendale and LA-based cultural organizations, artists, historians, and community members to bring us closer together over the wide geographic region of Glendale. For more information, please visit the link on the screen. The Brand Associates announced its 50th annual National Juried Exhibition of Works on Paper, celebrating not only artists that were chosen this year, but also many who have been featured for the past 50 years. Cash awards total $4,000, including a Juror's Award. All accepted artworks will be included in a show at the Brand Gallery and in both printed and online exhibition catalogs. Apply now and submit your application by May 23rd, 2022, and for more information, please visit the link on the screen. And that is the library report.
Gary Schaefer, Director, Library Arts and Culture. Again, just our thanks to the Brand Associates for all their wonderful programming at the Brand. Thank you.
Shall we move on to the next agenda item?
Yes.
Agenda item 4A, oral communications. Let me see if we have any. We do not have any. I'll move the agenda item to 5. Agenda item 5A, City of Glendale Code of Conduct for council members and members of boards and commissions. Motion to note and file the City of Glendale Code of Conduct for council members and members of boards and commissions. So I'd like to invite City Attorney Mr. Mike Garcia, who will be doing a presentation on the boards and commissions. Thank you, Mr. Garcia. Oh, I'll just forward it.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman, members of the commission. It's good to be here again. My name is Mike Garcia. I'm the city attorney. In November of last year, the city council adopted a code of conduct applicable to the council as well as to the members of our boards and commissions, mainly to set out a list of principles and guiding rules that would set the expectations of commissioner and board member conduct, as well as the conduct of the individual council members. So we're going to just get this presentation. Oh, there we go. Go to this slideshow. Yeah. There we go. Next slide. So again, this code of conduct that was adopted by the council provides what is and was not acceptable behavior from the members of the boards and commissions. And again, this is to provide an overarching policy document for all of our boards and commissions, as well as the city council, and sets the expectations of the individual members. Next slide, please. So there are a number of categories that are outlined in the code of conduct as it relates to the conduct of individual council members and board members, as it relates to the public, with each other, with staff. And so I'll go through those individually. So the first one is for the members of the boards and commissions to honor the role of the chair, to go through the chair, to direct questions of either of other board members or the speakers or the staff during a particular meeting. A lot of this was very self-explanatory. So some of this I will go through quickly. Some of it I'll maybe provide an example or two as we go through it. But you all, I'm sure, get the general picture that we can disagree without being disagreeable. And so we should conduct ourselves in these meetings when dealing with each other in a way that is respectful of each individual member's opinions and statements of viewpoints. And again, individual members should avoid personal attacks in their debates related to the matters that are before you. Next slide, please. Another subject area that the council wanted to make sure that there was a common basis of understanding with the members of our boards and commissions and the council is the conduct that we engage in with members of the public during public meetings. It's important that these meetings, they can sometimes be contentious or controversial, or discussing contentious or controversial items, and so we want to make sure that when we're discussing those matters with the members of the public, that we're welcoming to the speakers, that we're paying attention, that we're trying to avoid looking down at our notes excessively or looking at our phones. That was actually some subject of debate amongst the council, because sometimes the council members do want to be able to, and I imagine the members of the boards commissions may want to look at their phone to do some research on a particular item at the moment it's being debated, or look something up while they're having a discussion, and that's acceptable. The council wanted to be clear that that's acceptable, as long as the majority of your focus and attention is paid on the speakers that are before you, like you're doing now. So maybe I'm done. But anyway, so that's the gist of it. Keeping an open mind on matters that are before you. And again, the idea is questions or clarifications of the speakers that are before you, perfectly acceptable and even expected of you as active members that you are. But we should be avoiding debate with members of the public. You are the decision makers, or you are making an advisory decision to the city council, so there's no need to debate the public. At that point, you should be debating yourself. But obviously, you need to ask questions of the public when they're speaking, and that's perfectly acceptable. Next slide, please. So there are a number of rules as it pertains to the members' conduct or interactions with staff. Obviously, it's an expectation that the council has and that we hope for as management, that there's a professional treatment of staff, both in your conduct with staff during public meetings, as well as when you're interacting with them off the dais in an individual setting. So, we ask that you not disrupt staff from doing their jobs. It's critical that you not criticize a public employee by name publicly. So obviously, if there's a concern with the staff work or disagreement with staff recommendation, that's perfectly acceptable. Excuse me. But if you have an issue with a work performed by a staff member, it's critical that you raise that issue individually with that person's supervisor. So if it's a staff member that reports to Dr. Schaefer, you talk to Dr. Schaefer. If it was Dr. Schaefer, you could talk to the city manager. If it's the city manager, you could talk to the council members, et cetera, et cetera. So it's very important that we follow that sort of protocol to avoid public criticism, because that can have the effect of affecting morale, and we want to try to avoid that. Obviously, it's important, it's critical that individual board members not get involved or attempt to direct staff in their administrative functions. So if staff's been directed to let a contract or prepare an RFP, it's important that they be permitted to do that with the direction given to them by either the board or the city council, as the case may be. One thing I do want to point out, you may have interactions with members of my staff, Mr. Grant, for example, or other members of my staff. It's important that we let you know that the attorney-client privilege pertains to the attorneys and the city as an organization. And so there might be circumstances, so there's no individual attorney-client privilege with any member of my staff and an individual commission member. Now, there is attorney-client privilege as it pertains to anything you may say to our staff as it pertains to the outside world, but if there's something that we need to disclose to the city manager or the city council in order to effectuate our duties, then we have to be permitted to do that. And then another important provision is that we ask all members of the boards and commissions, if they're requesting information, to go through your department, your commission liaison, and to avoid going to other departments or going to city manager. That way, the most critical important reason for that, and this pertains to the city council too, we ask usually to go through the city manager's office or maybe a department head, is so that if we get information that is requested by an individual board member or commission member, that we have the ability to provide that information to all of you. So we ask that, and the best way to do that, obviously, if there's one point of contact with the staff. Let me see, make sure I didn't get it. Next slide, please. No, it won't go? Okay, so maybe I'll just keep going, and then Jennifer can try to get this slide on. So the next slide, and I'll go through, has to do with a number of items related to personal conduct of the boards and commission members. And some of this is very basic and common sense, and just over the years, there have been either in this jurisdiction, and we've heard stories in other cities that just things happen over time. So it made sense to the council to put all this into one document, so the expectations are set, behaving in a business-like manner, avoiding abusing, insulting, or profane conduct as it pertains to members of the public, staff, or each other, making sure you're prepared for your meetings and attending meetings, participating in the deliberations that are before you. Believe it or not, we've had that in the past where somebody essentially refused to participate, and that's not part of your duties either. Do not ask or direct employees to spend time on non-city matters. Next slide, please. Some of these very basic, obviously you cannot participate in criminal activities or engage in conflicts of interest or act in a way that violates any non-discrimination statutes. Next slide, please. So this one is very basic. Do not drink during a public meeting and do not show up to a meeting intoxicated under the influence of illicit drugs. So I'll just leave it at that. Conduct with the media, we do ask that if you do receive media inquiries that they be referred to staff for response. That's again, just to make sure that we're not sending out different messages as it relates to the work that's performed by the city. And so that's kind of the rule that applies. Even for the most part, the council will try to, on stuff that's not related to a particular vote of a council member, we'll try to go through one source of context. Excuse me. Next slide, please. So social media, obviously, it's very prevalent now, and I'm assuming that one or more of you are active on social media, and that's fine, acceptable, and understood. That's really part of what you do now. So the only thing we obviously make sure, if you're speaking on a matter that's within the subject matter jurisdiction of this body, that you identify, if you are speaking on something and you're speaking on something that maybe came before you or is about to come before you, that you identify that you are speaking on behalf of yourself and it doesn't represent this official city position, unless you happen to be talking about something you all did as a body, and hey, the Arts and Culture Commission did this or approved this art piece. Perfectly acceptable. Avoid conversations amongst each other on social media. There is one new statute that was adopted in 2020 that's kind of unique, and it might be difficult to comply with, but it basically says if one of you posts something on social media regarding something that's within your subject matter jurisdiction, nobody else on this body can comment on that, either a thumbs up emoji or a smiley or whatever. So that's, even though that's technically not a Brown Act violation, under this new statute it is. So I just advise you to be careful of that and try to avoid that. Again, I'm not sure that's fair, but that's the law. Next slide, please. So I know that recently this commission has now been tasked with some quasi-judicial matters as it relates, for example, approving murals that would come before you. So those are deemed to be quasi-judicial or adjudicative matters where you have to make a decision based on the facts before you. So a couple things, although we don't encourage ex parte contacts, which are contacts by a neighbor or the applicant or whatever, we don't necessarily prohibit it, but we do ask that if you have had sort of that outside contact before you made the decision, that you disclose it to your fellow commission members. Same with the site visit. If you visit the site before you're going to decide on the mural, you might go visit the site to see how the mural might look, then please disclose as part of the record that you did that. If you receive correspondence, sometimes you might receive correspondence that staff isn't copied on. Please forward that to staff so we can keep a record of all the correspondence that's received by the commission as it pertains to something that's when you're acting in the quasi-judicial manner. And then obviously it's important when you're acting in that role, making a decision based on a record, that you not make your decision until you've heard all the facts and the hearing is closed, and then you've deliberated. When I say quasi-judicial, you're essentially acting as a judge, so you have to wait until you've heard all the evidence and then make your decision. Obviously, we have opinions. We might be leaning one way. That's fine, but it's very important that you not make a decision and tell people this is how I'm going to vote, because you have to do that after you've heard all the evidence. And I think murals, that's really the one that we're talking about. Next slide, please. So there are some enforcement mechanisms, and I would note, I should start by saying, if there ever is an issue where staff becomes aware that there's an issue with the code of conduct, meaning any commissioner in the city or council member hasn't complied with the code of conduct or has acted in a manner that's in contravention to it, what we will do is we will try to individually, with the department head and maybe somebody from my office, attempt to have an individual communication with the board member and explain the issue before it becomes a bigger issue. There are some, obviously, for egregious violations of the code or repeated violations of this code of conduct, there are some disciplinary measures which could include referral to an individual board or commission, censure by the city council, which is basically a public formal statement condemning the actions of a particular commission member or council member, or in the case of the boards and commissions, the council ultimately does have the authority to remove members for, egregious or repeated. I mean, in actuality, they have the authority to remove any board commissioner for any reason, but under this policy, also if any sort of repeated or egregious violations of the code of conduct, they retain that discretion. Just a couple other, one other note I would make is that the policy does have a provision where we're going to be asking all the boards and commission members to review the policy and sign it. We're getting that ready to send that out to everybody. So that will be coming to you shortly. And then there also is a piece of this that the council wanted to have what's called AB 1234 training. It's basically an ethics training. It's two hours of training on Brown Act and conflicts of interest and Public Records Act. It's an online survey, and from the time we give notice to all the boards and commission members, you will have 2 years to engage the training. It's online, and you'll get self-certified. So those are two things that will be coming down the road here shortly. So with that, that's all I have. I wanted to, the written policy was provided to you as part of your packet. You'll have it. You'll have the opportunity to review it in more detail and sign that you've read it. But other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you so much for your presentation. Are there any questions from any members of the commission?
Clarification for the social media.
Yeah.
Because I do post every once in a while things about different art projects that are going on around Glendale. And I do give credit to, having been supported by the council. And that should be okay?
I think that's, yes, Commissioner Tufagan, I think that's acceptable. I think the only, what the policy deals with is if you're speaking on specifically some business that the commission took or that the council took as it relates to arts and culture, that you make, in those circumstances, you make clear that you're speaking on your own behalf. And then also, the second thing is if you see one of your, if you make those comments, then it would be, and it's something that has come before the commission, and I apologize, the law is not clear, but I would suggest that then the other commissioners not comment on it on social media, even though it seems like it's open-ended. But if it's something that's come before you, some sort of business, or it will come before you, then not to comment. But if it's just a general statement about arts or some art show or something like that, I think that's acceptable as well.
Pardon me, Commissioner Tufankian and Vice Chair Vire, can you turn on your microphone? Thank you.
Question about, this is more related not to the commission's business per se on the dais, but, as our role is what I've heard called as liaison. The commissioners are a liaison between the community and I guess the government. And that's a little vague, I think, and can kind of be interpreted in different ways. So I'm wondering if you could just comment on, is that a fair way to assess one of the roles of the commissioners? And if so, what does the liaison function look like and what doesn't it look like? Because I think in the past, maybe discussions and issues about people on commissions talking to the council person who appointed them about something, and then talking to another council person, which would be two council people. Yeah. And does that mean that if such a thing happens, there's a Brown Act violation? So if you could just elaborate on that type of communication a little bit.
On the communication between the council members and commissioners?
Between council members and commissioners, and even between commissioners on different commissions. I think it's very clear for us what we can and can't do as commissioners with each other, but it's a little more vague, I think, when you're talking about one of us speaking to council members or other members of other commissions.
Sure. Let me see if I can address it in a couple of different ways. So one, even if you're talking to council members, we always advise to try to avoid a conversation with more than two, because that's the potential for the Brown Act violation. If they end up talking to each other, or if you end up talking and formalizing an opinion based on your conversations with those, that's always a slippery slope in terms of the Brown Act. The other thing I would point out is, I didn't discuss it because it pertains more to the council, but there is a provision in the policy that applies to the council members, that although certainly conversations between the council members and commissioners is an expected part of our process, and each of you were nominated by an individual council member, even though you're appointed by the full council, that there's a provision of the policy which discourages or even really prohibits council members from trying to dictate how the individual commissioners vote or rule on a particular matter. So that's in there. So at the end of the day, my advice is, you're here, you've been given an independent authority, what's in the code, as far as what your authority is as a commission, and is to follow that. And obviously getting feedback from council members, again, I think that's expected part of the process, but I would try to avoid multiple conversations with council members.
Thank you.
And there was something else I wanted to raise. Oh, I did want to raise that because it popped into my head. It's in there. Even though, and I spoke to it, even though you've each been individually nominated by an individual council member, you do all represent all of the city. So it shouldn't be taken or assumed that you speak on behalf of the council member that appointed you or nominated you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions before we move on? Okay, I think we have a motion to note and file. If anybody would like to make that.
Okay, I will go ahead and move that we have the wrong motion in front of me. I move that we, the Arts and Culture Commission, receive, note, and file the City of Glendale Code of Conduct for council members and members of boards and commissions approved by the City Council on August 24th, 2021, and as more fully outlined in the May 19th report by the Library Arts and Culture's Principal Arts and Culture Administrator.
Second.
Roll call, Commissioner Stufankian,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Gadorian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Vayar,
Yes.
Chairperson Jiang.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you, Mr. Garcia.
Agenda item 5B, Brand 50, Arts Programming and Sponsorship Opportunity. Motion to approve, 1, the funding of a proposal for the Brand Associates to provide arts programming associated with Brand 50, and 2, the sponsorship of the Brand 50 Annual National Juried Exhibition of Works on Paper, in an amount not to exceed $2,500 from the 2021-2022 work plan. Before we discuss this topic, do we have any recusals for this agenda item?
Yes, I'm going to recuse myself just because of my very recent participation on the Brand Associates Board.
There's a conference room in the back here.
Do I have to recuse myself because I'm a former president of the organization?
And member.
And I am a member.
Bye, Arlene.
Oh, so would I need to recuse myself?
Well, I think their direct connections to the Brand Associates would.
So being a member?
I mean, we would need
I was
quorum.
a previous member as well.
I think your role is fine, Commissioner Tufankian. It's Commissioner Vidor's as past president.
As president. Okay, good.
Chair Yang.
We'd like to introduce Deborah Thompson, who's the president. Oh, Mr. Grant, did you have a comment?
Yes, if any of the commission members are merely, members but not on the board of directors and do not have, the ability to make decisions, on the board there, then it's okay for them just to be like an ordinary member of the Brand Associates. But if they are in a capacity where they do, they make direction for the organization or decisions, then they should remove themselves from this matter.
Well, I'm a current member. I think I'm still a member, but I was on the board previously, so.
So, Mr. Grant, we have 3 members who are members of the Brand Associates. None are currently board members, but 2 were, recently active board members.
Again, they're currently not in a position where they're influencing decisions. And so just being mere membership now is okay.
I'll invite them back.
Yeah. You would have taken the gavel. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
I guess it's good that people are active in the Brand Associates.
It's great
feel
to
left
see so
out.
many people who have
Welcome
gone
back.
from the Brand Associates Board to
Yeah.
higher positions. Yes, thank you. So I'm Deborah Thompson. I'm the current president of the Brand Associates, and I want to thank you. I'm so happy to be here to talk to you about Brand 50 and grateful for your consideration of a sponsorship that will allow us to do some creative programming alongside the Works on Paper exhibition at Brand Gallery. First, a few words about Brand 50, which is a very big anniversary. 50 years of pretty much consecutive shows, but for the renovation of the library and one other year that we were trying to figure out what happened. But the exhibition will feature the usual exciting contemporary selections by our juror. This year, the juror is our own Shannon Curry Holmes. We decided to give Shannon the responsibility of being our juror because she has, for the last 5 years, been responsible for taking the juror selections and making a cohesive show out of them. We thought we'd see what her vision is as she's selecting the artwork and what the show looks like with her being involved in all aspects of the show. So that's very exciting. A portion of the gallery space will be given over to a historical review of 50 years of Brand shows also. And what's interesting is that the show started out as focusing on ceramics, then they went to multimedia, then they went to watercolors for a while. It's really been an evolutionary step, and now we're paper in any of its artistic uses is our theme. So the history of Brand 50 is one of civic engagement, changing aesthetics, artistic innovations, juror preferences, and above all, how these yearly exhibitions provide an important venue for artists to have their work seen and appreciated. There will be a historical timeline, so you can look at what's been going on for 50 years. And then we'll have a salon-style hanging of selections from the collection that the associates have made, the purchases that the associates have made over 50 years of the show. So you'll see what we appreciated and what we decided to have for our own collection. Now, our additional programming continues the theme of paper, and we're exploring the 2 events that you read about in the proposal. And did everybody get a chance to read about the 2 events? Otherwise, I'll just read the really nice write-up that Jennifer put together about the proposals. Which do you prefer?
I mean, we've probably read it, but for the public, if you'd like to.
Okay, I'm happy to. We are proposing 2 events that would be in the recital hall at Brand, open to the public, of course, and free. And the first one would focus on Sam Francis and paper. Sam Francis is a very noted abstract artist, active during the 60s through the 80s. And who does a lot of works on paper. He has a huge body of work with many works on paper. So the works on paper created by Sam Francis during his long career encompass painting as well as a variety of graphic processes. The catalog raisonné of this works is a digital ongoing project of the Sam Francis Foundation. This event will center on Francis's artwork and expand to include information about the immense variety of papers used by artists, the making of prints, and the conservation of works on paper. The associates may also include 3 short films about the life and work of Francis, and proposed panelists include George Page, who was the master printer who worked in Sam Francis's own print shop, Hiromi Katayama, who owns a very lovely paper shop in Culver City, Linda Shaver, a paper conservator, and Deborah Lear, who is a board member of the Associates and the director of the Sam Francis Foundation, and is the source of all things Sam Francis in our world, and Tiana Williams, a filmmaker. So we are thinking, in terms of the paper, I envision like a petting zoo of different papers because they're so lovely and they look so great on the wall, but you don't get a chance to rub them between your fingers or feel the surface. And so I think that would be fun to have, and maybe even a demonstration of different print processes. The second event, which I would maybe call What's Trash Got to Do with It, is a timely program that would feature the work of a global organization, a nonprofit called Made Out of What? And they do amazing things with non-recyclable materials, but made into usable objects, and very, very beautiful objects. They're founded in the belief that storytelling can change the world and incite creative agency. Treating trash as the ubiquitous raw material of the 21st century, we would hear from their designers and artists who defy the disposable. In addition, we would invite speakers and artists who use trash in other ways. We have some local artists who collect and use trash for their own creations, artistic creations, as well as artists whose content is trash, either in painting or photography. So we would have the panelists from Made Out of What, and then 2 local artists. And I'm thinking also, and you have to realize these are really early ideas for the 2 programs, to have a children's Make It program associated with this, where kids would bring their own trash and then with guidance make things to take home and learn about how to work with trash. So that's the idea that we're working on for Brand 50, with the goal of featuring our artists and also having a great deal of civic engagement, people coming to the gallery, with the goal of making our annual National Juried Exhibition of Works on Paper an event that celebrates our history, honors our present, and looks for important ideas for our future. So, questions?
Do we want to go through the roll call?
Sure, and the roll call, Vice Chair Vire, do you have any questions?
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Commissioner Tufenkian?
Yes, I do. Lovely program. I'm so looking forward to it. I think Shannon's going to be amazing. So happy that she's the juror this year. I was wondering, space-wise, what you were thinking of how you were going to divide the works on paper, and
Right.
then Sam Francis, and presenting things that were collected over the past 50 years, and so on.
Well, Sam Francis won't be part of the show. He won't be part of the exhibition. That's going to be, we'll probably just have a slideshow of his works on paper for that particular event. And I'm sorry I didn't bring a map of the gallery space, but in the central part of the galleries, there's the I think it's called the atrium, with the really tall walls. And then before you get into that, there's another smaller gallery. And those 2 central galleries would be the historic gallery exhibit. And the walls of the atrium really do lend themselves to a salon hanging, which is where there's row after row of artworks, one on top of the other. You can get far enough back to see the ones at the top. And we probably we won't be able to show every artwork that we've purchased for the associates, just maybe the best of different media, we have some really famous artworks in our collection. And it would be, those 2 smaller spaces. There'll still be plenty of room in the hallway, in the other galleries, to give the contemporary artists their due.
Very exciting. Can't wait.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Commissioner Vidor? Any questions?
I just want to thank you, Deb, and also the members of the board of the Brand Associates, and of course the Brand Library itself, for making Brand 50 such a unique and special event. I think it's notable regionally, if not nationally, to have a show that's been so successful and grown so much over a 50-year period in any institution. Maybe there aren't any, I don't know, but 50 years is remarkable, and it just keeps getting better and better. So I wish you the best, and I'm looking forward to all of it, the show and the 2 events. Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say that looking through the archive of 50 years of Brand shows, it really has been remarkable. The changes and the technology and the people involved, it's really been quite a feat. So we'll hope to really give that its due also.
Commissioner Zadorian?
I'm assuming we'll have a discussion amongst ourselves about sponsorship levels after. Is that, or do we have that right now?
I think
It
we're
is
just
included.
asking questions.
Just asking
Yeah.
questions at the moment? Okay, I don't have any questions. Thank you so much.
Shall I leave now?
I have one.
Okay.
I'm last. My question is just if you can give some insight into the total amount of funding that you're seeking to be able to produce these programs, and then, if there's other sponsors that you're seeking, just some clarity about raising the funds for these.
Okay, well, we are definitely seeking sponsors for Brand 50 just and the associates just in general this year. We're doing more fundraising than we have in the past. I think, Jennifer, when the information that I gave you initially had specific amounts for each. The money that we would get from you guys would go for honoraria, and it would allow us to bring in people from national organizations or bigger organizations or from businesses. So the number that I had actually come up with was less, I think, than the 2,500. 2,500 is the highest sponsorship level that we've offered in our sponsorship deck, and I think that's what you guys were looking at. We would make good use of any amount of money, but the honoraria are the things that we would aim that money for the two programs. Do you have those numbers?
It's included in your packet, yes.
Okay.
That's all the questions I have. So we can, thank you very much
Thank
for
you
your
very much.
presentation. It's very much
And
appreciated.
welcome back to your chambers.
Thank you. And so now, do we have any, any points of discussion or comments or?
I'm ready to make a motion unless you guys wanted to have a discussion.
I just want to say that this is always one of my favorite shows. The paper art show is fabulous.
Okay, that's
I
great.
would be in favor of supporting it.
Then I make a motion that the Arts and Culture Commission hereby approve the funding of a proposal by the Brand Associates to provide arts programming associated with Brand 50 and the sponsorship of the Brand 50 annual National Juried exhibition of works on paper in an amount not to exceed $2,500 from the 2021-2022 work plan, as more fully outlined in the May 19, 2022 report by the Library Arts and Culture Principal Arts and Culture Administrator.
Second.
I think I heard Commissioner Tufenkian. We'll call Commissioner Tufenkian,
Yes.
Vidor,
Yes.
Zadorian,
Yes.
Vice Chair Vire,
Yes.
Chairperson Ying.
Yes.
Agenda item 6A, ArtSoc Creative Program Update. We'd like to invite Juan Gonzalez, who is overseeing the ArtSoc Creative Program, to do a report and update on this vision. Mr. Gonzalez.
Good afternoon, commissioners and staff. My name is Juan Gonzalez, and I'm the project manager for the ArtSoc Creative Retail Pop-Up Program. As I shared with the commission about 6 months ago, ArtSoc Creative is a pilot program designed to give entrepreneurs an opportunity to test their concept and product in the heart of Glendale's burgeoning arts and entertainment district. Those interested in vying for a spot in the program submitted applications in which they were asked to describe their business model and how their shop would align with the city's vision for an activated ArtSoc Avenue. Applications were screened by economic development staff, and those who were chosen to move forward in the process were invited to a formal interview in which they were able to present their ideas and concepts in greater detail. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Commissioner Villar for volunteering to be the Commission's representative on the selection committee to help economic development select the participants in the second round of the program. At this time, I have the pleasure of introducing the participants to you. The first of which is Alex Gagnier Glover from Chez Gagnier, located at 117 North ArtSoc. Alex?
Good afternoon. Hi, my name is Alex Gagnier Glover. I own Chez Gagnier, which is a greeting card and gift brand originally based in North Hollywood. We sell to roughly 3,000 stores across the US and Canada, mostly independent boutiques, and we were given this opportunity to open our first retail brick and mortar store. It is an amazing experience. We opened roughly 2.5 weeks ago, and it's just been an incredible, fun thing to see all of our products in one location. We have almost 700 SKUs, and then in addition to our own product, we've been stocking locally owned, female-owned products and business sort of goods in our location to help support them and also to bring awareness of their smaller brands. We are going to be doing some programming, and we're going to be having a grand opening of the weekend of June 10th to the 12th. So every day we're going to have a little bit different of something happening. We're going to be doing bites and bevies and oracle card readings on Friday, June 10th. And then June 11th, we'll be doing a yoga class followed by a guided meditation. And then we'll be doing a sage bundle making class. So we're going to be doing a lot of like tactile things to kind of bring in the community. And then on Sunday, the 11th, we will continue doing more sage building classes. And then following that on June 26th, we're going to be doing a modern tea party and dried floral arranging. So it's just a really fun opportunity to bring in customers of ours that are in the local area, not just in Glendale, but in the surrounding areas of Los Angeles and Orange County. And then also to get them into our store and to bring them to the ArtSock creative area to introduce them to this area and like everything that's kind of going on around us. So it's been a really, really fun opportunity, and we're excited. Do you have any questions?
I have a question, Alex.
Yes.
What are the hours, the days and hours that you're open?
So we've been trying to like feel it out to see like where traffic is coming in. So we're going to be open from Wednesday to Sunday. We will be closed on Mondays and Tuesdays. Part of that's a staffing thing for us, like for me to be able to work in our warehouse those 2 days. And then the hours are going to be from 11 to 6, Wednesday, Thursday. Friday, Saturday are going to be 11 to 7, and then Sunday is going to be noon to 5. That might change just kind of as things go on. And when we have the yoga class in the morning, we're obviously going to be there earlier than that. No one wants to be outside at noon on Saturday in June. So, yeah.
My husband went to buy my birthday present there last week, but you were closed.
Oh, no, I'm so sorry. Obviously, I am getting over this is like day 12 of a sinus infection, so very exciting.
We'll be here soon.
Do you have a website where you're listing these events?
We are adding it to our website this week. We have our web developer has a full docket of fun things we're adding this week for us. And then we'll be promoting it on our Instagram as well as the brands that we're pairing with. So we're working with a local florist who does dried floral arranging. She's out of Venice, and so she's going to come in and do the floral class for us. We're working with a local yoga teacher, so it'll be promoted across everybody's social media platforms as well as on our own website and through our email channels.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Oh,
yeah.
Commissioner Zadorya?
Oh, yeah, thank you very much. It sounds really exciting. I think one of the dates you mentioned, and Jennifer, you may have to chime in for me, is the same day that Mona is doing their electric festival. Are you
Correct.
aware of that, and are you kind of linked into what's going to be going on? Because that could be a good opportunity for you to be seen
Right.
as well as people run around downtown.
Totally. I actually love Mona. I think it's such a cool thing. We have flyers that are going to be made that we're going to be handing out. So that's definitely something I can go introduce myself over to the team over there, and just maybe we can do a little bit of a pairing. We're working with some of the local businesses where we have like a flyer that says, stop in, get a free greeting card, and come like meet our team and just come in and check out the store. So that's a great idea. Thank you.
Yeah. The kind of interrelationship between arts and cultural institutions and businesses in Glendale and others, I think, is really important to augment both. So
Absolutely.
makes sense. Okay, great. Thank you.
I just had a question. Are we going to be reposting all these social media posts to our Instagram, Facebook, and then also maybe email blasting it out as well? I'm assuming it's all interconnected and on our website as well?
We can absolutely do that. We usually reshare whatever economic development has created.
Perfect.
Great.
Thank you. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Alex. And now I'd like to introduce you to Drew Evans from the Rock Photography Museum located at 123 North ArtSock. Drew?
Hello. Thank you for this opportunity to explain what we're up to. And first of all, just want to say publicly thank you to the city, and Juan, you've been really great to work with. It's a great opportunity for us. I run a company called the Rock Photography Museum. I've been in the photography licensing business for about 20 years, and about the music photography space for about 10 years. And we work with music photographers, rock and roll, folk, jazz, and we do fine art prints. So we sort of function as an online gallery. Photos of the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and on, as you can kind of imagine. And then also we do licensing. So if a magazine or someone has a book project or a documentary, we facilitate providing the photos and getting a fee for the photographers. And with a couple of colleagues of mine, we are trying to sort of create a museum as opposed to just an art gallery that would focus on this kind of material and help to preserve it and present it to people much the same way that LACMA does, for example, but instead it would be photos of David Bowie and the Foo Fighters and musicians. And when I'm trying to explain to people why this is kind of interesting and important, my basic spiel is just when I say the Beatles, what pops into your head first? Is it a picture or a sound? And then my response is half the people say picture and the other half are lying, because the first thing that pops into our head is what they look like. And it's not to say that it's more important than the music. It's obviously not, but the photographers that sort of created what we think of as the visual side of rock and roll in particular, and popular music in general, it's a huge part of it. And we want to create a place where we can share this with the public and preserve it, because a lot of the people that shot this material, particularly in the 60s and the 70s, are getting older. And for every person that's taking good care of their archive, there are people who have it stored in boxes in their garage, which is kind of how I got into this whole thing. I met someone that had 10 years worth of work of all of these incredible artists that was just sitting in his garage in Encino and had been there for 40 years since he moved to California. So eventually we went through it and put out a book. And anyway, so the ArtSec program is the first opportunity we've had to sort of create a physical space, and we're doing 4 shows over the time that we're there. The first one was a photographer named Guy Webster, who shot a lot of famous album covers in the 60s and 70s. Currently we have a show with a photographer named Norman Seif, who is not a household name, but his photographs are. You've probably seen his most famous photo is probably the one of Steve Jobs sitting in the lotus position with an original Macintosh in his lap. So Norman shot photos that were supposed to be used as the cover of the Exile on Main Street album. The 50th anniversary of that record was May 12th, basically when we opened the show. So that runs till the middle of June, and then July we have a new show, August we have a new show, and you can find out about that on our website. Yeah, so that's kind of what we're up to, and eventually I kind of see this museum being a tourist attraction, and I think if the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame can be in Cleveland, why can't the Rock Photography Museum be in Glendale? So do you have any questions? Okay.
Sounds very
Oh,
exciting.
thank you very much.
I hope you have a chance to come by and check it out.
What's not to love?
And thanks again for the opportunity.
Drew, what days are you open?
We are open Wednesday and Thursday from 11 to 6, Friday and Saturday from 11 to 8, and Sunday from 11 to 4. We're closed on Monday and Tuesday, although I'm actually there working on other things, but it's technically not open those days. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Our next participant in the ArtSoc Creative Program is no stranger to this commission. You met him previously as a participant in round 1. Sean Casey from Glendale Room, the first comedy venue in Glendale. And they're located at 127 North ArtSoc.
Thanks, Juan. Hi. Good afternoon. Hi. I want to say thanks so much for extending our residency over in 127. It's been a blast. We are LA's coziest stage for live comedy. We are happily included in the conversation in top 10 spots to go see live comedy in LA. And that's with, just having 6 months underneath our belt. So I think things are coming together pretty nicely. We started with, like 5 shows a week, and now we're up to 11 events a week. That includes classes and daytime recordings and all sorts of stuff. So things are looking good. Yeah. It's going well. I think we have about 1,400 people that come through a month based off of kind of like our Eventbrite back end. And they're coming from all over Southern California. We know this because we have their credit card numbers. But it's reliable, so yay. As far away as Rancho Cucamonga and beach cities and all the way up to Lancaster, Gotta get out of Lancaster. Gotta come someplace cool. So let's see, here's what we have coming up. We have some really exciting stuff. There's so much live comedy, but I've kind of noticed like how the room vibes, right? With all the books that are lined up, and it's a really like intimate, sort of chill space. So we're devoting Sundays to a combination of storytelling events and poetry reading. Storytelling is also going to encompass things like The Moth. We have a show called Revealed that's coming in this weekend, and there's this woman, she's fantastic. She tours with NPR and The Moth on a regular basis, and this is going to be her first performance in 2 years, so it's kind of a big exciting thing for us. And then we have the Dazed and Confused Poetry Club that's coming in on Sundays. This upcoming Monday, Renee Gauthier, who's the head writer of RuPaul's Drag Race, she's going to be performing. There's a slight chance Ru may come, so that would be kind of a cool get in a room that has 40 seats. So we're looking forward to that. The rest of her bill is all comics from Chicago who write for shows like Atlanta and Blackish and AP Bio right before it got double canceled. But there's all sorts of fun creatives who call LA home, who just needed the excuse to perform where they already live. So many people already live in Glendale. They're right here. Kind of having this space for them has been just the flag plant that we hoped it would be. And they're having a great time. All the feedback's really good. Some of the other people we have coming up, Ian Abramson, he's on like Space Force before that got canceled. In the middle, a bunch of other stuff. We've got The Sober Show, right? So we have so many shows that are part of the comedy universe that you're used to. It's like kind of a nightclubby sort of experience, but we wanted to light a lantern for people who are in the recovery community, whether they are the comedians or the audience, and say, we're going to have a regular night. This is going to be great. This is what we're excited to see. And all the proceeds that come off of the night go to an anonymous program, of some kind. Recovery associated is what I mean. We don't know the name of it. Fridays are becoming parody nights in June. We're taking formats that you may like, shows like Bridgerton and the Eurovision Song Contest, Die Hard, and they're reinventing them on the stage. So there's going to be a lot of character work, a lot of goofiness, as you can imagine, and with the Eurovision Song Contest, some good musical comedy too. I'm trying to think. The other half of our goal is that we are fostering young comedians in their quest, I guess, to reach professional status as comedians. These are people who maybe were new to LA during the lockdown and are looking for that home, that community. We have 2 open mics, one that exists on Wednesday night, one that exists on Sundays. Molly and Serafina, my hosts for those mics, are super welcoming. It gets tremendous play inside of the comedy community in terms of being the most inclusive, welcoming mics that you could possibly expect. So it's nice that we're not just about chasing names, we're also about building this next generation who will call this home, right? They will always look back and say, well, here's where I kind of cut my teeth and here's where I made my bones. So that's I think just the best building block for community that we're looking to do. But when we talk about community in the context of tie-ins with other businesses, Lorian Bridal, that's right around the corner, we're going to go ahead and smash a storytelling event together with her offerings. And so there are going to be stories that obviously circle around weddings and things that may or may not go as planned inside of them. So I think it'll be a fun night. And who knows, maybe she sells a couple of dresses. I think, like, if it could all happen, this is the goal. If you can't make it out to the Glendale room, right? Like, you're like me, you wish you could just be in bed by 10 every single night. If you can't make it out, you can still be part of what we do, because at this point, Jeffrey J's Being Trans program that got featured in the New York Times, that's out for people to watch and people to listen to. And all the performance portions of that were recorded at the Glendale Room. Or Crystal Adams, she just recorded her audio album, her special, last week. And that's going to be out on all the platforms, where you listen to streaming audio. And it always kicks back. She says, like, we recorded here live at the Glendale Room. So this sense that there's a cultural comedic flowering that's extending beyond the physical experience of being able to make it there that night. Like, we're gonna keep putting paid on that promise, and just kind of keep pushing out that there's hilarious, unique talent that already lives here, and we're just kind of giving them the megaphone through this experience. So thank you so much. I think that's it. Boy, I feel like I really went for a minute there, huh?
Thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation. Are there any questions or comments?
Well, Sean, I just want to say a couple of things, that it was fun reading the New York Times and seeing the Glendale Room reference, and that was, I don't see that a lot when I read it. You read it every day and don't see that, something from Glendale often, so that was fun. And then also I want to say that combining comedy with the bridal shop is really some creative programming that I'd really like to see.
Oh, nice.
Thanks.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think that stuff too shows up in search, right? Like the fact that if you type in funny and Glendale, it's going to bop right to a New York Times article. Oh, that level of bona fides for us is so awesome. So thank you. Thank you for fostering this whole program and helping make that happen. I did try to get Brett Goldstein back from Ted Lasso.
Oh, that was, yeah.
That was, oh, sorry,
Wow.
you were behind the mask. Sorry, Jake.
Mine.
I'm going to get him back, but I'm going to do you one better, because I'm going to get you Jason Sudeikis, because in July, we're going to bring back the Armando Diaz theatrical experience in Hootenanny. This was a show, Granddaddy show that started in 1995. And if you mind if I just read you some of the cast, right? The cast of Armando, and we're reasonably expecting all these people are coming back for some of these. Adam McKay, who directed, the Step Brothers movies and Don't Look Up and The Big Short and Anchorman and Bewitched and all that sort of stuff. Rachel Dratch from Saturday Night Live, Amy Poehler, also from Saturday Night Live, along with a bunch of other stuff. Jack McBrayer from 30 Rock, Neil Flynn from Scrubs. I think we're just going to have a real great reunion time. I'm going to pick up all these names I dropped. Awesome. Thanks. Thanks. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be that Hollywood person. But they're all coming here, and they're all going to be in a 40-seat room. So come on, it's like a party. Thanks.
Schedules on your website?
Yeah, we're 7 nights a week. I got to catch up with what's on the calendar, because we're like an iceberg right now. It's like 10% is above the water, but the other 90% is there. So much fun stuff every night of the week, and daytime stuff we're recording. The open micers, they each got to pick out a book that they felt like reflected who they were, like their comedic sensibilities, and like use it as like their loyalty kind of like punch card, because we have all the books like in every single thing. And so they've all picked out like these books that are like boys can have feelings too, and like Ask a Mexican and stuff. And I just love how people have started to populate this space with like little proxies of themselves. It's filling out. You didn't ask that. I'm sorry.
Any other questions or comments?
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Incredible.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations on the success.
And finally, I would like to introduce to you George Kirkman and Bing Jiang from Rolling Robots Innovation Lab, located at 131 North Artsock.
Hello.
Hello. I'm George from Rolling Robots in Bing, and we do tech activities and teaching at classes for kids. We strive to provide a place where young creative geniuses can be inspired, and we look at every kid as potentially the next Steve Jobs or the next Thomas Edison, and we want to provide an environment where they can flourish. We want to thank you for letting us use this space and be here to present to you today. When we saw the ArtSoc creative program go up, we thought, hey, this would be a cool place to put something with technology, because so many creative kids these days are in technology, and as well as students that are doing art are using more and more technology in their work. So we thought we would be a good fit, and thanks for accepting us. And so what we're doing with the space is primarily we work with kids, so we're picking up in the summer. We've been open off and on since March, primarily on weekends and kind of special events, but we have a whole schedule of student activities through the summer, beginning in June and through the end of this program, August timeframe. We had a nice robotics invitational event. We do robotics teams that truly excel. They go to world championships and things like that. And the world championship was just a couple of weeks ago, and in April we invited teams in to prepare and practice. So we had teams kind of from all over the Valley area, and our own teams, of course. And it coincided with the Earth Day activities that were happening in the area there. So it was a busy day, and a lot of people got to see, who we are and what we do. And so, hopefully we'll get a lot of kids through this summer to do things. We have facilities there like computers, 3D design software, 3D printer, so students can see their work, kind of come to life almost right before their eyes, and things of that nature. A lot of building supplies for kids from as young as like 5 or 6 years old up through high school, and then we have high school students that come back and also teach. So we kind of have the whole cycle of learning, doing, and coming back and then teaching.
I'm Bing. Thank you for having us here. So what I want to say is with Drew Rock at 123, we're rolling in 131. So sort of, I like the rock and roll scene we built up in ArtSoc Street. Like George said, our main program is probably going to picking up from June. Right now it's a little bit quiet. We just have a little bit of activity there on the weekends. And the activity in June mostly focusing on young kids from 5 all the way up to like 13, 15. And they will be doing just simple building of like a simple robots all the way up to coding and building a little bit more complicated robot. The idea is prepare them to join us competition team so they can have an ongoing learning going. And also we want to have a workshops that is focusing on electronics, which is more tied into the art aspect of things, that providing these simple tools that technology is readily available, allow people to do more creative project. So it's the two aspects that we're having. Some of you may know us because we've been in Glendale for a long time. And doing all these programs, so this one just gave us another location to sort of reaching out more people. So, and we have, I think I want to mention that we have currently the ArtSoc location on our website, on our homepage, so people scroll through, they'll see the location listed up there. When we do the event, we would pop up Instagram and Facebooks about what's happening, and I think throughout the summer, we probably can do more, because right now the activity is more just people coming in to do their work. And hearing the photographer person right next door, maybe we can even team up to do some more photographer versus what we do, and to highlight the kids and also just bring more social awareness of what kids are doing.
And in the summer, these activities we have scheduled to be open from 9 in the morning to 6 in the evening with kids during the week. So we usually run 2 sessions. We'll do like 9 to 12 and then 1 to 4. And then we have kind of open activities in the evening after that. So right now we're mainly just weekends because kids are still in school. But hopefully we're going to have a lot of activity through the summer.
I have a question.
Great, thank you so much for your presentation, Commissioner Zadorian.
I have like 2 or 3 questions. So what are the activities exactly that you're referencing? I heard one was robots. What other activities do you guys have? And then how do you guys do outreach to the children? Is there something that you go to the schools? Like, how do they know and how do they sign up, or do they just show up?
Yeah, so so the activities, starting at a young age, we have a program we call Bots for Tots, where kids are kind of building things with their hands and learning about shapes, learning about counting and things like that. That's 5 to 6. And then we move on primarily to code-based stuff. So we use a tool called Scratch, which was developed at MIT to teach kids coding in a very visual environment. We move on to 3D design, and we use kind of an industry standard program called Fusion 360 that it turns out that even young kids, 8 or 9 years old, can use this tool. You know, they use about 10% of it, but they can use this tool, and that couples to our 3D printer so they can 3D print things. And then we have a variety of robotics. So we work with Lego robots, which a lot of people know, and we work with Vex Robotics, which is something similar, but not a lot of people know about that. Maybe you can say something more about the younger kid robots, the Go and things like that.
So if you have children, you might know, but if not, then you don't hear all these development of the new toys. In the past, let's say, we've been in this business for 14 years now, and so in the past, you probably only hear Lego as related to maybe robots or just robot, right? Now, because the STEM education is a very big thing, in addition to all the Scratch, block coding, all that, the robotic side has many tools out there, I would say. So besides the Lego robot, now we have this Vex Robotics, which they have recently, actually just this year, developed this product line, covers from basically kindergarten all the way to university. So they have lines, say, Vex 1 to 3 for the 5-year-old to code. They have Vex Go for the 6-year-old to build and code, and then have Vex IQ, they have VRC, then they have Vex U, and just goes out. So we have adopted this line from early on when they don't have this baby program. Now, since they developed it into the baby program, I basically tell parents that if you have a 5-year-old, you can come to just learn the baby coding with us, don't even need a computer. Then you do Vex Go, which is a really colorful kit you can build, but you don't really have to get into coding if you're not ready, because 6, 7-year-old sometimes just don't want to code. And then when they get on to the next level called Vex IQ, they can build, they can code, they can compete. So we can cover them all the way to finish of the elementary school, which 4th and 5th graders get to go compete in the local, national, world level. So that just carry them a whole year, like nonstop every week. And then get to the middle school, I basically tell parents, which is actually our own experience, that kids are very capable and they're smart kids. Basically, school is easy for them. So they can spend a lot of time, need a lot of time to do well. So they spend a lot of time figuring out how to, not just putting pieces together, so there's no instruction. They have to figure out how to build a strong structure, how to build something that doesn't fall apart, how to put screws together without interfere with each other. Everything you imagine building something well, they could learn through this. And then they would learn cutting, they would use tools, they would use all the industry tools. We have a lot of tools for them to use. And they learn all that, and then they go out to compete. So the competition sort of bring the purpose of the learning. Otherwise, you say, why do you want me to build this 3 times? Why do I want to make it any better? I'm already done. The competition motivates them. So we bring them out. So through the whole 6th to 8th grade, they will be, that's going to be their drive. I want to be on the team. I want to do better. I want to win and all that stuff. So like this year, we have 8 teams to World Championship. 2 of the team got division champion. So everybody is electrified. They're like, we will be the next champion. We want to do more. And then, of course, get to high school, they have a lot more choices of themselves. They say, we still like robot, we'll do more, or they say we want to move on to build some other programs out there in schools. You may have heard is the First Robotics. They work with Lego, they work with making bigger robots, then they would participate in that. So the idea we're building here is really provide a sort of a path for these guys to grow slowly. And every little project we do is always, you could say is always electronic related, always coding related. So that's pretty much sum up everything we're doing. And summer camp is a small portion of that, not very, very much like introduction level. So you say, I'm an 8-year-old, I've never touched anything like this, that's all fine. So they get introduced to these things.
And then outreach-wise?
Yeah, and then how do we reach out to kids?
Oh, how to reach kids.
So we do go to schools and do things like, when they have a science fair or something, we're there as, as a presence doing things with kids. Previously, I don't know if we've done it since we've been on lockdown, but we usually go up to JPL for their Bring Your Child to Work Day and show off, stuff for kids. And then we go out to various events, like, for example, there's this, what is it, the Family Fun Day at the
Family
Zoo?
Fun Day at the Zoo coming up this weekend, actually, this Sunday.
This Sunday, we're out at an event here.
So we do all the summer camp fair. So whoever has the one, we will do. We did the UCLA, and we're coming to Griffith Park this weekend. And we also we do a lot of donations. So say your school is doing whatever fundraising, we would always make a donation to them to show them we have this program here. And we have our own mailing list, close to 10,000. We always email them about all whatever places we would, highlighting them. And periodically, we also do targeted Facebook ad just to promote our program.
And the social media. Instagram.
Yeah, we have Instagram and Twitter. And
I just
LinkedIn.
recommend working in collaboration with the Glendale Unified School District. So if you're already doing that, that's great. Just so they can do outreach to their students, so they're I guess they know that there is something like that in Glendale and on Artsakh, so it's close by and they can send their kids.
What's the other place you say?
The Glendale Unified School District.
What's the second?
Artsakh Avenue, where it's located. Artsakh?
Yeah.
Oh, to tell the Unified District.
Yeah.
Yeah. We actually worked with them closely a little bit earlier. And since the Artsakh, I haven't directly reached out to them. Yeah, but we could do that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
One.
No,
a question for Juan.
Okay, you're good, thank you.
Thank you. Just, really incredible, diverse array of creative businesses here, and it's all very interesting. And I want to make sure I understand where one goes. Is there a portal into either our website or yours, or hopefully both departments, where one can see, get entry into each of these businesses and see what's on the schedule and what they're doing and what they're up to without having to navigate around too much? You must have them consolidated somewhere, right?
We do have a Choose Glendale ca.com website, and we are going to be updating. We just brought Chez Gagnier on board. The website will be updated with the current programs or the current businesses participating in the program. We'll also have a feedback link so people can tell us what they like, what they would like to see. Yeah.
So where does one find, what is it
Choose
called?
Glendale CA.
Oh, okay. I didn't know it was in the piece. I just saw it. Thank you. Great.
I also think that's a great recommendation, Commissioner Vidor, which leads into our next conversation, which talks about our Arts and Culture Commission arts calendar. So I think that's a great recommendation.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Great. As you can see, we have a real nice mixture of performance, visual arts, tech, innovation, and retail for this next round of the Artsakh Creative Program, which will go into the fall. Later on this summer, we'll be reporting back to the Glendale City Council about the program and ask for further direction. As we said, it was we've committed to a 1-year pilot program. But overall, we would like to thank the Arts and Culture Commission for your support for the program. And we invite you to come out anytime, come see a show at the Glendale Room, check out the Rolling Stones exhibit at Rock Photography Museum. If you have friends with kids, take them down to the Rolling Robots Innovation Lab. And if you have to buy a mom or, you know, a close friend a real fun gift with and especially if this person has a sense of humor, go stop on by chez Gagnier. Once again, thank you for your support, and we look to further collaborations with the Arts and Culture Commission.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you.
Thanks, Juan. Thank you. Chairperson Jiang, may I move on to the next agenda item?
Yeah, I just wanted to make one quick comment. I wanted to say, first of all, thank you, Juan, so much for stewarding this program. Thank you, Commissioner Villar, for helping with the selection process. And thank you to all of you who are running these incredible creative businesses. I really wanted to highlight, I forget who said this, but I love the term residency. There was something about that struck out to me, so that might be something to think about for next time. The Creative Retail Residency Program or something like that might be a nice way to think about this. But thank you all so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, agenda item 6B, Arts and Culture Commission website, Citywide Arts Calendar. So I'm going to do a quick overview and then also invite Sydney Brundage, who's with us today. So in January of 2022, the Arts and Culture Commission has decided to work with the Claremont Graduate University Work Study Program for a course of 1 year. So Sydney has been working with us since January, will be with us through December. She's about 20 hours a week. And one of her first tasks with her time with us has been to really look deeply at the Arts and Culture Commission's website, specifically the vision that the Commission had in regards to developing an arts calendar for the city. So I'm going to hand it over to Sydney, and then I'll also pull up a PowerPoint that we have for that.
Hello, Commissioners. As Jennifer mentioned, my name is Sydney Brundage, and I will be working with you for the rest of the year. And I have a presentation to go over the website and what I've been doing. As Jennifer mentioned, I've been focusing mainly on the arts, city arts calendar, but kind of did a whole revamp of the entire website as well. So what you're going to see on the PowerPoint initially are some comparisons of the previous website, how it looked before I started, and then the visual, mostly visual and aesthetic changes that I've made since. So as you can see now, this is what the previous homepage looked like. And then this is the current homepage, different colors, different vibe, feeling of it overall. Next. These are the previous menus. So when you would go onto the website, at the top of the page, this is what the menus look like. You can see the different pull-down menus. Both of them are quite long, had a lot of different things listed. And so if you go to the next page, Jennifer, these are what the current menus look like. As you can see on the pull-downs, they're a lot shorter, a lot more concise. Essentially what I've done is combined a few of the pages. So for example, under the About, it had contact and commissioners. Now if you go to the commissioners page, it also has the contact information. So you're not going to two different pages. Go back. The programs, very similar. They had, under the programs list previously, there were programs that weren't currently active or were older, and so I've combined a lot of those into past programs and made sure only active programs are listed under that list right now. Previous commissioners page. Previously, all of the commissioners were listed in kind of stacked in this formula. What I've done is I've changed it so your headshots are visible, and then if you hover over your headshot, that purple box comes up with your bio and all of that information. The previous urban art program page, this one, along with the visual updates, I also, if you go to the next page, made it so that if somebody is looking to do a new building, needs that information of, how much percent is going to this program, it's very prominent on the page now. If you're on the page, you just scroll down and it says what I need to know, and it's very clear, and it wasn't so in the previous page. This is an example of a generic program page. This one specifically is the Adams Square Mini Park, and a lot of the program pages have a very similar format. This is what it used to look like. This is the current format, just a little bit cleaner, a little bit sharper overall, highlights information better. I mentioned earlier that on the menus, the programs had listed programs that were not currently active. On the previous menu as well, there were these two different pages, the past programs and the public art, that both had programs that were no longer active, programs that have been done in previous years. Looking at the two pages, it was kind of hard to tell why they were different, why they were on separate pages, why the information was different. So what I've done is combined all of the past programs into a single page. And when you go onto this page, if you were to hover over word on the street, for example, you could click on that, and then a pop-up with more information will be available. And this is if you're on the page, there's maybe 3 to 4 or 5 rows of past programs that you guys have done. So it's all there in one spot for people to see. And so the arts calendar, this is what the previous arts calendar looked like. On the back end, this functioned as a blog. And so what that means is on the front end, how the public viewed it, all of the events were listed. Can you go back for a second? Were listed in these kind of boxes and stacked on top of each other. The public will click on a box, you can go forward, and this is what the page would show up. Keep in mind that because it's no longer a live page, I had to do screenshots, and it's a little bit bigger than it would be. Previously, it was all like on one page, but the information was at the top. You'd scroll down, there'd be the picture, you'd scroll down some more. There'd be these recent posts, which are essentially other upcoming events. Again, they're listed this way because on the back end, it's used as a blog. Just something to note, I wanted to point out, as far as like features that the blog had, it showed how viewed the specific events were. You can see the numbers, 44 commission meetings, 1 viewing, that kind of thing. The blog also allowed for comments, and you can see that none of these events have comments. The comment feature wasn't really being used at all. And then you scroll down a little bit more. And then if you were to scroll down on this previous page before, there was a space for you to put in the comments that weren't being used. The current page, if you go to the live website. So what I've done for the current page is I've used an app called BoomTech, and we are using the professional version of this app. And BoomTech this is what it looks like on the live website. Jennifer's on the website right now. And so what BoomTech does is it has a lot of features that we like. So first, starting at the top, it says upcoming events. On the corner where Jennifer is right now, we're on the card view. And as you can see, you can change the view to agenda, so they're all stacked, to a monthly view if you want to see a calendar, if that's more appealing to you. If you go back to the card view, on the card view, which is the default view, can you scroll down and show the hover feature? So right now, you can see, without hovering over it, you can see the date, time, where it is. When you hover over it, you can get the information, see what the venue is, see who the sponsor, the organization is as well. If you scroll down, you can see the Glendale Art Commission at the bottom of that one. And then if you go to Mapping Sublime, scroll down, that one actually has brand as the organizer. So that was a feature we really appreciated. Can you go back to the top? The search bar allows people to, if they know about a specific event and they're just trying to like find out when the date is or something like that, they can search it and it'll pop up. And then we also really appreciated the tagging system that you can see there at the top. It's less intuitive than you would expect. They essentially work as off-on buttons. So right now, all of the tags are on, so you can see all of the events. If you wanted to see just dance performances, you would have to click everything else off instead of clicking dance to highlight it. But the information's still there, and you can still specialize in that way if you're looking for a specific type of information. We also wanted the professional version of this program with the idea that this would be a citywide arts calendar to help, I guess, limit the effort that staff needs to go through. The professional version of the calendar, I think you need to hit the X to get rid of the search bar, has this plus button. And so anyone in the city, outside of the city, can go in, put in the event, the information, the description, the image of their event that's happening in the city, and that will get submitted. And then on the back end, we have the opportunity to review that information and then approve it to go onto the live website. A lot of the, some of the brand performances that we've talked about earlier today, the performance by Paul Fried, and I think there was another brand performance that maybe wasn't mentioned. Oh yes, those two brand performance, Paul Fried and Music with Sarah, were actually put in by brand staff, and I looked at those events, approved them, and then they were on the website. So that is a really important feature. What happens next? Can you go to the new page? So what I've also done is created this page, Art and Culture Organizations, that is a list of all the art and culture organizations within the city. If you hit, it just scrolls through the button or the organizations. You can click on any of them and it will take you to their website. And so what I plan to do in the upcoming weeks is to reach out to these organizations, inform them about the calendar, tell them how the add button works, and hopefully get some traction and more organizations using it so it truly does become a citywide arts calendar. And that's it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Sydney. That was an amazing presentation. Any comments, questions from my fellow commissioners?
Amazing.
Amazing, very exciting, very exciting.
It looks great.
It looks great. I have a couple of questions.
Of
I
course.
was wondering, on this, where you're showing the other organizations, this page that you just showed us, okay, I think you have a business on there, and so I was sort of wondering about what the criteria are that you're looking at for approval. Like Revolution Dance Studio is a business rather than a nonprofit or an actual arts organization. So I was just, could you give me an idea of what the criteria are for qualifying when you're reviewing?
Yeah, so it's what we've essentially done, or what I've done, is to look for organizations that are related to the arts. Or Jennifer mentioned the Doctor's House and the Whispering Tea Gardens as cultural locations, just places where art exists in Glendale. It does kind of get gray as far as businesses and that kind of thing, but organizations like galleries that are truly businesses, most art galleries aren't nonprofits, should be included in this list because they are, surrounded, focused in art. And so that was the basis for adding things to the list so far. This page is brand new, essentially. We just went live yesterday, actually. And so there hasn't necessarily been organizations that have reached out to the website or staff to say, hey, I want to be added to the list. It's mainly been through research and recommendations from Jennifer so far.
Well, if there's for example, a music conservatory that might want to be on there, how would they contact, whom would they contact?
At the moment, I would say Jennifer, and then she would get that information to me and we could add that to the site. Something that I want to also add to the site is information like that, just a little blurb at the bottom of the page that if you're interested in being added to this list, please contact XYZ.
I think that's an excellent recommendation, Vice Chair Vier. And as Sydney said, this website just went, or this page just went live literally like a few hours ago. So we're in the continuing process of updating it, and your recommendations are fantastic. And we'll absolutely put contact information, specifically arts and culture, at glendaleca.gov if people are interested in learning more about the calendar and adding themselves to the organization list.
I have been in an organization that for about the last 5 years has been saying we need a citywide calendar. So it's just, thank you.
Yes, of course.
Commissioner Vidor?
Thank you. Really great. What a huge improvement. I think it might be a good idea, and I don't know what the answer is, to think a little bit more about businesses, for-profit businesses, cultural organizations, and the different varieties of cultural and artistic offerings we have, and possibly even on this site, categorize them, like maybe create 3 or 4 or less boxes of, businesses related to the arts, nonprofit cultural organizations. I mean, we can divide it any way we want, but I'd like to see a differentiation because I think we could open up a can of worms, maybe not so much now as used to be in the past. It used to be in the past where if an organization, took its members to a play, it was suddenly an arts organization, and, we want to be very specific about that. So I
can make a suggestion to that. I know I've seen in other places where, or like grant applications, eligibility, for arts organizations, they often deal with that. And I think I agree that we should be open to both businesses and nonprofits, but there could be some kind of rubric or metric where it's like 80% of what you do is present or teach art forms, of this kind. That, you can put some guardrails around it, so it's not like, oh, but I present, retail, and all those people are artists.
Right.
But they're making certain, I don't know.
Yeah.
It does get fuzzy, I agree. But I think that's something that I might put to staff to think about in terms of, can we put around some very reasonable guardrails where it is a business or a nonprofit that has a particular mission for presenting or teaching art.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, members of the Commission, Commissioner Vidor, I think those are excellent suggestions, and I think we can work on that and bring that back to you. I think we would look to the Commission for some guidance. So for instance, the Glendale Room is a business. The Rolling Robot charges fees to present their stuff. At the same time, a band could be performing at the Brand, and it's a wonderful free arts event. And then the next night they may be at a bar at Brand. Does that qualify them, or on the Brand Boulevard, and does that qualify them then as that particular an arts event? The concert may be, I use loosely, may be free there, but you have to pay a cover charge to get in, you have to be 21. So I think we would be looking to the Commission to give us suggestions and guidance about those kind of guardrails as well. Thank you.
And can I just say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. What you just said, Dr. Schaefer, makes me think about something I think we have to be careful of, and that is to delineate what isn't art and what is art, and maybe to even get a little bit further at some point in the future when we have a PR firm working for us into the city's website, because some of the things that we're talking about, i.e. restaurants and clubs and bars that present performers and display art, you know, that's the Visit Glendale page. I mean, there's a whole other, like, ecosystem, to use that wonderful word, of what's enriching about Glendale that is right now not anywhere on the city's website. And you see it on many cities' websites where there's just a big, broad, you know, purposefully expansive page about visiting the city and what you're going to encounter. And we can be much more loose in that respect, whereas on our own arts and culture page and what the commission does, then we carve it out more. So I think we have to look at, you know, what's going to go on the Visit Glendale and have a great time page versus what's going to go on our page.
And I think to our mission, what I would say about that is if we define around what organizations are featured on that page, then you can have approved organizations that can then present to the calendar. So you're not dealing with it on a calendar basis. That might be a way to think through it. So you're highlighting the programs from organizations that have a mission, or, you know, their central focus is the arts. And so once you're on that approved, you know, events page, approved organizations page, then you can post freely to the events calendar and get that approved. That might be one kind of, you know, barrier to entry to sort of put some guardrails around it.
And then I would just ask though, Sydney, like, does the software work that way? It seemed like anyone could post it. It's whether it gets approved or not.
As far as the calendar?
Yes.
Yeah, at the moment, anyone who is on the website can put an event into the calendar for us to approve or not approve.
So I think the way to do it would be to try and work on the rubric, present that, and then at least we have a reason why we might be denying someone, you know, because it doesn't align with what the mission of the calendar is. But I would like to applaud Sydney as well, because this is a huge thing that the commission has wanted for a very long time. And I just appreciate her doing this work and putting this all together. And I would be remiss if I didn't, again, express my thanks to Jennifer Fukitomo-Jones, who I believe is in the lead of all city departments for the number of help and work that she has managed to get for us. So thank you, Ms. Fukitomo-Jones.
Jennifer, could you go back to the calendar?
Yes.
No, you're fine. But I just wanted to share also on the calendar, we have really brief guidelines at the moment. If you click that, essentially specifying how much to fill out the form, how detailed to be, and then it gives a 2-week deadline to submit. So if you don't submit your event within 2 weeks before the event, it won't get approved. And currently, all approvals are being done once a week on Wednesday. So,
Can I ask?
I think Commissioner Commissioner Tuvankian, and then we'll go over to you.
Hi, thank you so much. This is so exciting and so important. I also wanted to maybe suggest, now we've got this amazing calendar, and we want to let the public know about it as much as possible. Would it be possible maybe to have a QR code made, and it would be maybe presented in each of these organizations, and people can just, you know, link,
scan and
straight to the calendar.
Yeah, that definitely seems reasonable.
That way, I think it would be somewhere that people can, you know, hear about it and know about it.
Absolutely. That's a great suggestion, Commissioner Tufankian. And we can talk about potential vinyl sticker codes that go in the windows of retails if that's an option, but that's a great suggestion.
Thank you.
Okay, and my question was, so as these events are posted on the calendar itself, what is the process of, we send out like a newsletter email blast that goes out to the arts and culture, I guess, people who have signed up. What's the pipeline between the calendar and the email when it's a non-city related event? So those that are posted by the brand associates, the brand library, would those also be included because we have all the information in those emails of upcoming events? I guess that's more of a Jennifer question,
Yeah.
sorry.
And my, just an assumption that I would make is that no, because ideally if this calendar is being used as prolifically as the aim is, that would be a very long email list, so.
Yeah, that's a great question, Commissioner Zadorian. I think for the Arts and Culture Commission's e-blasts are focused mainly on our events.
Okay.
And we can definitely send an e-blast to promote this opportunity to our list, as well as people who can be invited to either participate on the arts calendar and or just see that we have an arts calendar now. But primarily in the past, we've just promoted the commission's events.
Okay. So
just to comment on that, I imagine in our email we could add a little call out about the calendar, just pointing people to access it for even more community events or something like that.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you. No further questions?
Great. Well, thank you so much, Sydney.
welcome.
That was
Thank you.
fantastic.
Thank you.
Amazing work. Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you so
Well,
much.
how much longer do we have, Sydney?
We have Sydney for till December.
Okay, good.
So she's working hard on several other projects, but we're incredibly grateful to Sydney and the Claremont Graduate University for this work study opportunity.
Thank you, Sydney.
Next on the agenda, we have discussion item 6C, 2021-2022 work plan progress update. Let me just go through this quickly. Sorry. Okay. Okay, so first up, we have the Citywide Arts. The Art Happens Anywhere program updates that we have. The staff is working with, as we mentioned before, the Museum of Neon Art to confirm their plans for the Glendale Electric event set for June 11th, 2022 from 12 to 5 at various locations throughout Glendale as far as outposts throughout the city. So we'll definitely keep the commission apprised of those outposts and events. Staff is also working with Kathy Renda to install her sculpture Ride Like the Wind at the Glendale Central Library's drought-tolerant garden. And we're working specifically to have a concrete slab poured onto the drought-tolerant garden for the sculpture to sit on top of. So we will definitely keep commission apprised of that progress as well. So as of today, 15 out of the 17 Art Happens Anywhere projects have officially been launched. And the two remaining are the two that we left discussed before. So we're very excited that that progress is happening with those projects. With LeBass projects, the RFQ, the commission held a special meeting on April 7th to discuss the Glen Oaks Median Boulevard sculpture. The commission reviewed 5 proposals and chose Hahamanga by Forma Studio. And then we'll be going to review, next up is the Verdugo Park mural opportunities. So those artists are currently in the process of developing the proposals for that. And we're hoping to have a special commission meeting sometime in July. That will be the next step. In regards to the mural ordinance, staff has been working very diligently with Sarah Odenkirk on the draft of the mural ordinance and policies and procedures for that. We are hoping to have a draft for review with the commission either by June or the July meeting. It's very meticulous in its detail, and we're doing as best as possible to provide the best possible draft for you to view. So we're going to continue to work on that and provide you updates as that and keep you apprised of that. Creative Crosswalk staff is currently in the process of talking with Public Works in regards to next steps. And once the color palette has been approved, we will, if it is approved, we will definitely let commission know on the status of that. Next up, we have Neighborhood Arts, the Adams Square, which I have on the screen for the Adams Square Mini Park gas station exhibits. We met with the Artist Review and Selection Committee. Thank you, Commissioner Zadorian and Commissioner Tufenkian, for attending these meetings to review the applications. Staff has provided the following programming recommendations for the Adams Square Mini Park gas station. I'll go through them right now. The first step we have, August 1st through September 16th, is A Translucent Nature by Patricia Branstead, which is a site-specific installation of a series of pieces that work together for the space. The cylindrical light sculpture lamps, along with the hanging monotype paintings done on translucent Asian papers. The light sculptures are made from Asian papers, which adhere to the lampshade plastic material and are also shaped to different sizes. And this would be on exhibit at the gas station August 1st through September 16th. Next up, we have Glass Eye Nazar by Kayvon Taftay, which is a multimedia series using a combination of drawing, painting, collage, and photography. Tafte blurs the confines of genre to create sensory and emotional work. Nazar is in reference to the Arabic word for sight and surveillance and is recognized by many to protect against evil. So this would be on exhibit from September 19th to the November 12th of this year. Next up, we have Recollect by Katju Phillips, creates a unique experience combining post-consumer product innovation and sustainability while paying homage to traditional craft methods and handmade. It also offers a dialogue of sustainability, recycling, and conservation. The exhibit will create an awe and wonder of the transformative aspects of electronic waste. Growing up in the Philippines, one of Philip's fondest memories of the childhood is when the city is lit up with traditional paroles to mark the holiday season. Paroles are an ornamental lantern traditionally made out of bamboo and Japanese paper. Recollect is inspired by this childhood wonderment and fascination of light and color, especially both revealing and concealing its immediate environment. And this exhibit would be on display from January 23rd to March 31st of 2023. And last up, we have Disassemblage by Marina Borkdahl, which will feature 5 double-sided vertical tapestry-like art pieces consisting of unraveled cotton duck panels that have been reconstituted and painted. The pieces will be suspending and hung from the ceiling with monofilament using grommets located on the top corners of each artwork, and the panels are to be spaced out and hung through mixed and differing angles to create a sense of a forest and vertical signs while being vertically visible as viewers move around and outside the gas station. This exhibit will be on display from April 1st to the 10th of 2023. I'm sorry, April 1st to June 10th of 2023. And that is the update for this specific discussion item, but I wanted to invite Commissioners Tufenkian and Zadorian if you have any comments from the process or the applicants.
Just that it was really fun. There was a lot of great submissions, and I think I'm really happy with what we selected, so hopefully
I can second
everyone
that.
else is as well.
I think we just tried to get a very eclectic group of different artists for each time, so it's not, the same thing regurgitated. I think we did a good job at that. So I'm happy with what we came up with. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you both for your participation. Next up, we have performing arts. There is no update. Arts and cultural events, there is no update. Marketing and communications, we do have an update. Staff has worked on the draft of the public relations firm. We're almost there. We're hoping to have a draft to share with the commission at the June meeting, which we're very excited about, and we'll make sure to include that in the packet for the next meeting. So those are the updates for the 2021-2022 work plan.
Great. Thank you, Jennifer.
Moving on to commission staff comments.
Go ahead,
May I?
Commissioner. Yeah.
I do have a comment. I would like to suggest that the sculpture that is going to be in the museum, right in front of the museum, be done by an Armenian artist. From talking to different people in the community, I've had a really strong, there's been a strong sense of people wanting, the Armenian community obviously, wanting that piece to be done by an Armenian artist. So we can maybe look at that or take that into consideration. It would be appreciated.
Well, in the Art of Transparency, I did have communication between myself and Director Schaefer and I guess Principal Arts Administrator Jennifer Fukutomi-Jones that I don't think it's the right time to discuss that location as it's going to be under construction for the next 3 years. I did ask that that discussion be postponed and we do not make a decision as of yet. And so that is my opinion on the exact same conversation. If we did want to wait and instead use those funds for different locations, and then when the time came, we could have that discussion and make a decision based off of that. And those are my comments. Thank you.
Chair Yank, members of the commission, Commissioner Zadorian. So just like the museum was a conceptual drawing at first, the stage we're at, it would be conceptual, and a work of, this possible magnitude would take years to bring to fruition and needs to be planned and worked with the site. So we are having conversations with the museum currently, so that we're bringing them into the fold on that. But an artist cannot work on it until an artist is under contract. So we will be continuing those conversations, get their input, and then come back to commission with whatever the next recommendation would be. But we hear you, and we will do our best to address your concerns and that of the communities. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Commissioner Vidor?
No, it's been very lovely to be back at the Brand Library and the Central Library, experiencing a lot of the really great exhibits and performances that have been put up. And I realize this is our first time in two plus years back here, and I just want to compliment and extend my gratitude to Library Arts and Culture, Dr. Schaefer and Jennifer, for doing not only great work, but a lot of work. I mean, we certainly set a record for the number of meetings that were held during the pandemic period, and I think our productivity is something that we can all collectively be very proud of. So in terms of how things have been going, I couldn't be happier. And, you know, if this is winding, I don't know what my future will be on the commission, but it certainly is a wonderful experience being on this commission. So thank you all, and thank you both.
I second that.
Thank you.
Heard that.
I want to thank Jennifer and Dr. Schaefer, because I am really impressed how not being able to meet in person did not slow you down at all. You really have generated so much, so many programs and so much work for us to look at and review. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. I'm in agreement. Thank you all.
Well, thank you very much for that. I just want to share with Commission, and you may be aware, but you are not the only ones extending love. So the Library Arts and Culture has been named a finalist by the Institute of Museum and Library Services as a finalist for the National Medal. We will hear in early June if we actually will be awarded that, but that is given by a federal agency, Institute of Museum and Library Services. All federal funds for museums and libraries flow through that agency. Traditionally, in the past, winners are presented the medal by the First Lady, so Michelle Obama had presented it in the past. So we'll see. Again, we haven't been named a winner. We're just a finalist amongst 15 libraries and 15 museums. Typically, 3 to 5 museums and 3 to 5 libraries are named, so we're very hopeful. But I wanted to bring it up specifically at this meeting because next Wednesday, the 25th, will be the day that the IMLS is focusing on our library alone, and so they'll be putting it out on social media, and we're going to be, just celebrating that day. So please, if you call us and you hear celebration, you'll know why. So,
Well, congratulations.
Incredible news. Yeah, congratulations. And it's
the only library in California, right, that has been nominated.
It's amazing. It's a tribute to all of your work.
Yes.
So that's something we can put on our social media and promote, right?
just don't like it if another commissioner.
That's right. No thumbs up.
Thank you.
Agenda item 8, written communications, we have none, so we are at adjournment. Agenda item 9.
Thank you.
We are adjourned. I'm going to use this.